plane after they said they had 0 aircraft in the area for a week and a half, and all of a sudden, here's 10 coming out the woodwork,
Sorry, it's a lie.
Yeah. So what do you think the purpose of that sighting was? I mean, or was it just random?
Good stuff. Good questions. Daniel, you're so sharp. The question is why do UFOs show up anywhere? Well, to me, they're just like a gigantic pizza service, and they send their little pizza delivery guys to pick you up, and guess who's the pizza?
Oh man,
you.
Yikes!
These cosmic airheads. I mean, it's just a blue light special, and you're the prize, and you get picked up. And the question is, why Stephenville? Because obviously there's something going on in Stephenville, in that area. People are often asking the wrong questions. And I'll give you a beautiful case in point. I was interviewing a general from the Iranian Air Force back in 1994. And I said, tell me about your experience. He's telling all these wonderful things. And I said, wow, that's fantastic. So I saw this UFO, and I was flying my F-14 or whatever it was, and he started doing all this. And I said, it's great and everything. I said, see, the problem is everybody asks these guys the wrong questions. And he says, I said, I want to ask you a different kind of question. I said, now, don't you think I'm weird when I ask it? And he said, fire away. And I said, have you ever experienced missing time while you were flying an airplane? Total silence on the other end of the phone. Yes. My God, how in the world did you know that? I said, because you're not the only pilot that this has happened to. I said, I have several others this has happened to as well. Missing time doesn't occur just because you're driving a car. Sometimes it's when people are flying airplanes. We've had that happen on aircraft carriers. We've had it happen in all kinds of circumstances. Fascinating stuff. So the tech behind these guys is pretty neat, but what's the purpose of all this? I mean, why are they doing all this weird stuff? Well, part of what they're doing is subterfuge. It's to lead you astray. It's to make you think something else. It's what all intelligence communities do to anybody who's looking at them or who might be looking at them. Mm-hmm. We're going to give you another image for you to look at. And we don't want you to see what we're really doing. It's just that simple.
Okay. And your best conjecture as to what they're really doing?
What they're really doing is they're that's good. You're good, Daniel. You're really good. The side effects of what you're seeing with abductees, needle marks, occasional rare implants, a lot of so-called physical exams. A lot of this stuff is a. To answer your question, I'm going to have to step back just a second. I'm going to put my cop hat on for a minute, if I may. Here's the deal. Whenever a case comes into us, we see your abduction as kidnapping if it's real, period. Just because the guy's got large black eyes and bald head doesn't mean anything to me. It's still kidnapping. There will be trace evidences, fluorescence, implanting, embedding, marks on you, scars, cuts, etc., whatever. There will be mental, psychological, and even spiritual tampering in some cases. There will be DNA evidences on you by them and of them. As a UFO researcher, we do things a little bit differently here than other people. Basically, there are three things that are kind of important that we're going to be looking for here, and this will kind of answer your question, but it's going to do it from a police point of view, and I'm more comfortable with this answer. The MO that all criminals do. There's an MO, okay, and then there are two other levels of things that happen in a crime, if they're there. The primary thing you see in most incidents, most people are familiar with, is MO, their modus operandi. Right. Any good investigator can find out data on a case. Anybody can do that. The problem is there are two other levels of this thing. What we look for beyond the MO is the second level of a crime. This is the ritual aspect of a crime. These are signs of fantasy or psychological needs, scars, cuts, burnings, wounds, and things like this, these people being taken, sexual and other things being done to these people that produces something not by the alien. Forget the alien. He's just a delivery boy. Think of him as a recorder. He's not even important. He's a recorder. Somebody else is going to play that back later. And there are three kinds of investigators out there. One is the guy that picks up girl that look at my picture. I got a picture of a police officer. Isn't this great? We got some good cases here. Isn't this great? And they're all excited about these little photos, and that's all bright light or whatever. You'll see those often in UFO community. They're well-meaning, good people, but they're not the investigators in the sense that of what we're talking about. Police officers, engineers, people like this are a little more educated to what to be looking for. These people kind of smile at those guys. Now, I kind of fit in that second category. Now, when a cop gets in, like he's handling a ritual murder, as an example, one of these serial killers, as an example, and when you finish doing your MO and all your other work, you do the best you can with it, then you turn it over to what is called a profiler. The profiler kind of smiles at you. That's how far he is above you. When he finishes looking at all these little cuts, scars, scratches, and everything on the alien's doing to you, what we're finding is this. We're finding another story. What we're also finding is not only the signs of fantasy or psychological need of the entity who did this, who ordered it, but we're also finding a ritual signature. These are unique combinations of behavior. These are physical, mental, or even spiritual aspects or signs left that may be at the behest of the perpetrator, MIB, or other creature involved, or even a collective of higher intelligence, other than the little minion of the gray. The grays don't have a clue about anything.
I always thought they were the dumb ones.
They can't even get your clothes on right. No. They make huge mistakes. Huge mistakes. Mm-hmm. They can't even keep their eye cover on right. Somebody's tearing it off. So we're looking at three primary things. We're looking at physical evidence. We're looking at the profile of these entities from the MO, the ritual signature, the ritual signs itself, and then the signature. That's what that's the different levels we're looking at, and we're finding that those are showing us what the hierarchy actually is, rather than just our opinion of the hierarchy.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, you mentioned earlier about a black light self-examination. If one were to do that, what would they look for?
Wonderful question. If you've been touched by one of these, and even if you haven't, check yourself anyway, because some of you won't remember anything. You are so programmed that you'll have the effects of it, and if you're an abductee and you find out you're 40 years old and you find out you're an abductee, I have big news for you. In 99.9% of the cases, you have been since you were a child.
Yikes.
You just now got it. You just now remembered something that cued you. I'm sorry, but you're late. 40 years late. Mm-hmm. The fact is, if you take a black light out and check yourself and put one in your little closet, if you like, put in one of those little cheapy black light bulbs and screw it into this top in your closet and go in there and check yourself everywhere. One doctor asked me one time, female doctor, she says, where? And I said, everywhere, madam. Check yourself everywhere. Okay. And she did. She found fluorescence all over her chest, breast, stomach, thighs. I said, did you find it in your vaginal hair? And she said, yes. I said, did you find it vaginally? And she said, yes, I did. She said, what does this mean? I said, I'm not comfortable discussing that with you on the phone. I just would like to ask you, would you send me a sample? And she says, I already have. She said, I prepared slides for you. I said, well, I didn't get you anything for Christmas. And she says, I am scared out of my wits. She says, where the hell does this stuff come from? It's all over me. I said, only as if you were laying on something. She said, yes. I said, and so one of the marks we found on it was ritual. It was not, again, the word ritual. It was not done by casual contact. It was done on purpose. There was a meaning behind it. This is a doctor. Oh, they're all crazy housewives. Want to bet? There's nothing wrong with housewives. They're not crazy anyway. They're just people like anybody else. But you need to be looking with the black light. If you see this fluorescence, it will be so obvious to you. I don't have to tell you, well, there's a little tiny white speck in me. That's just lint from your clothes, sir.
Yep.
Not it.
But
it will be usually bright green, but not limited to that color. The colorations have different meanings, and it means the different procedures and things that were done with you. Mm-hmm. It'll usually be bright green if it's touch.
And can you see? And you may see claw prints.
Sometimes you may see claw. Usually, if it's a claw, if that type of creature is involved, usually the mark will be in the visible realm, and it'll usually be on your back or your chest if you're female. and it will leave marks on you, male or female, doesn't matter who you are. The marks will usually be in the visible realm. Usually, if the marks are in the infrared or the fluorescent layer,